everyone, and greetings from Botswana, Africa. Mike and Cindy Haley, we've served here for about 4 years now, and we've been asked to share with you some practical thoughts about how to train domestic workers in Western standards. There's a few important considerations about domestic workers, and the first one is just that. Are you going to have one working for you in your home? We personally do not employ domestic workers here at our house. We prefer Proverbs chapter 29 as our approach. He that delicately bringeth up his servant from a child shall have him become his son at the length. So we really view the people who work with us in the ministry as our family. They view us as like parents. So what I do is rather than pay them, I actually sponsor them in the ministry. I enable them to be full-time with us, to study, to learn, to grow. It's the Paul-Timothy relationship. But I also explain to them from the very get-go that rather than hire a maid, rather than hire a gardener, I would rather invest that money in them. So I ask them to consider that their work around the house is part of the ministry. Pastor Monty helps in the gardening. Miss Buitamelo helps with the house cleaning and some of the cooking for the staff on certain days of the week. So there are a lot of, there's a lot of domestic work that they do. We don't regard them as domestic employees. We regard them as co-laborers, and all of us pitch in on Mondays and do all of that work together. If we're cleaning toilets, we all clean toilets. If we're mopping floors, we all mop floors. Cindy does our laundry. She doesn't ask Miss Buitamelo to do that. She doesn't ask Miss Buitamelo to work in our bedroom, and she does that on her own. But, we just take into consideration the fact that it's our opportunity to work with them to work with us, and it also gives me a good chance to judge their character and their trustworthiness and, what their integrity will be like in the ministry. Let me give you just a few practical tips, some things we've learned here, and mostly that's in the kitchen and has to do with gardening tools, okay? But here in the kitchen, one of the things that we noticed very quickly about Botswana culture is that if it looks clean, to them it is clean. We maybe are a little more concerned about sanitation, and so we use bleach in our dishwater. That's something we do every day. In Botswana, they like to wash dishes, or they're accustomed to washing dishes in cold water. Now that creeps me out, okay, because I worked in a restaurant growing up, and I kind of know how important it is to wash dishes in hot water. So, we have to teach them that is our expectation. And the best way to teach is to teach by example. Teach by doing it along with them, explaining to them why you do things a certain way, and always trying to do that without belittling them. Never saying things like, well, in America we do it this way, but just saying, let me explain to you why we like to do it this way, and being very cordial about it, very coaching. But let me say, explain what you expect and inspect what you expect, and you'll get respect. They want to know what to do to help you and to please you and to be a blessing to you, but you have to explain to them why you do it a certain way. Also, a task list, a daily task list. They appreciate being able to come to work and being given a list and knowing exactly what's expected of them, okay? Let me talk to you just a little bit about tools. One of the things that I've learned in Botswana is that, if you put a power tool in the hands of a Botswana and teach them how to use it, a lot of times they'll do a better job of things than you will, okay? But you do have to explain things like different currents. For example, here we have a plug adapter, and I can plug a 110 plug into there, but if I plug that into the wall, even though it'll go into our power source, which is 220, this is fried and my tool is worthless to me. You can imagine how hard it is to get a Milwaukee charging base back to Africa, okay? It's important for you to bring good quality tools from the U.S., or in many countries you can buy quality tools, but they're going to be a lot more costly. So it's just something you kind of have to decide, maybe something you want to think about on your survey trip. And again, when we talk about tools, recently I had some paving done with brick pavers. And I asked the guy, to make sure that the ground was level. You can imagine my dismay when I went out, and the level that I had just bought a few days earlier, he was using as a screeding tool on crushed gravel instead of using a board. A T-square. I don't know what it is about Africa. It's hard to find anybody that does anything level or straight, but I'm a fanatic about those things. So I've taught my nationals the importance of those things. When I do a project, I do it with them. I let them do it with me so that they can learn the same way my father taught me those things. And I just want to encourage you, have realistic expectations. Make sure you explain what you expect and you inspect what you expect. And train, teach, coach, have patience, always speak simply and clearly. And then in the end, learn from them. I'm amazed at how much I've been able to teach the men and women who work with us. But at the same time, I'm quite blessed by how much we've learned from watching them and picking up on some of the things that we may not have thought of. Let me close by saying this. There will be a lot of times when you get very frustrated, okay? And that's common, that's normal. But one of the things that Cindy and I remind ourselves of constantly is that we know what we know because of where and how we were raised. And that's just a blessing of God. It's just the fact that we were born in America. We are an advanced nation. We do have a lot more technology available to us, and we do have a lot more understanding of some things. So you just have to take that into account. So just be patient, do the best you can to teach and train. And, God bless you. I hope you have a wonderful ministry.